So welcome back to Seeds. This is Kristine.
This is Tracy.
And today we had a really interesting conversation on last week, in last week's posting, where we talked about love, and that was just right at Valentine's Day. And, you know, what is love? And we had not difference of opinion, but we brought out a lot of...
saw both sides of it.
And we've had actually a tremendous response from a lot of the viewers, and we're really, really happy about that, weighing in on some of that, and we hope to share those with you. So Tracy and I really, even afterward, we continue talking about the topic, and so today we'd like to take it a little deeper, and to kind of broach the topic around whether or not you can be in love with more than one person at the same time. And that, black and white, my response to that is yes.
Yes.
You agree?
Yes, I absolutely agree with that.
Absolutely agree.
Yes.
There was a time when I thought, no. You know, I thought, no, you couldn't be in love with more than one person at the same time, because if you're in love with someone, then you're in love with that one person. And the very idea of you feeling that you're in love with another person would negate
the other, in
some way, the love that you have for this person.
Right.
You know, and...
But as we all know, we're all very complex human beings. We're complex creatures, so not everything is so black and white. There's a lot of gray areas, especially when it comes to love. I think Johnny Depp had one of the best quotes about that, where he was saying that if you love two people and you fall in love with another, then let go of the first one, choose the second one, because it would never happen. But I think that's kind of, it's not that easy. To the Johnny Depp quote that you were just speaking about, what was the quote again? The quote was basically, if you love two people, if you fall in love with you should stay with the second one, because the first one, obviously, it wasn't real love.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and that, and honestly, and I think that's probably, anybody who reads that would understand what they're saying and why.
Yes.
Because, right, and that really speaks to the whole thing. Like, if you're in love with somebody else, there would be no room to be able to see anybody else, to be able to fall in love with somebody else. If you were, and it would raise the question then, were you ever truly in love with that first one if you could fall in love with another? We talked about the whole thing around commitment, instead of commitment not being the same as love.
Right.
I do believe that there are many people who are in a committed relationship, who are also in love with each other. And I also believe that there are many people who are in a committed relationship who may not be necessarily in love with each other, but they may be there for security reasons, there might be love in there as well, but in terms of, is this my soulmate? Right. Is this my partner? Am I completely fulfilled in this? But again, focusing on what we're talking about in terms of, can you love more than one person? Not love. Well, you want to say love or in love? Like, is there a difference?
You could say love, but like I said, well, the perception of love is different to everybody.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about us, then yeah, you can say love, because we have an understanding of what that is. But I think that if we're even talking about other people, they're going to look at it as consider love, in love with two people, because I don't think they waste their time.
Like the in love.
Yes.
The actual in love with two people.
And also, it could be even, I know you were just saying that it could be that they're only there for security reasons, but maybe they really do love that person just as much as the other one, you know?
Right. And, and I'm glad you said that, because it's true. Like, that's why I think there's some who could be in it, they're in a committed relationship and actually are in love with that person.
Yes. But they also love another just as much.
And that's where I bet you there'd be a lot of people saying there's no way that that's possible. And I can see why.
Absolutely, but a lot of it is the conditioning we've been taught as well, that we are only supposed to love one, and then obviously if you don't love, if you do fall in love with another one, you didn't love the first one. but that's not necessarily true.
Yeah. Yeah. I absolutely, I shouldn't say absolutely because it's a very...
There's no absolutes when it
There
comes
is no
to
absolute, no. But I do feel that there's probably many people who have found themselves in a space where they're in love with two people and don't know where to go because maybe because they're in love with one, they feel they'll be missing out if they go with the other.
Or they might lose too much, or they might have too much to lose with the other, like with one, although they will be missing the other, but there may be something that's holding them, what's, you know, keeping them in the place of like, you know, I'll lose too much. So that's, I think, what it really comes down to. Are you willing to gamble for love?
Gamble. What would the gamble, like in terms of, but again, within the model of this society of having only one and being only with one? When you say gamble, like...
Well, I mean, gamble is in what are you willing to give up for the other? Because even though you can be in love with, okay, well, maybe I'm going on a different road here, but I know you can be in love with two people, but you do have to make a choice. You can't have them both.
Well, then what's to be said about like these polygamous type of...
Well,
or, you know what I mean? Like
no,
where there's
you're right.
These I've heard of these
polyamorous
and stuff like that, where they accept this idea and the notion that you can love more than one, and they not only they accept it, they embrace it.
Yeah, because all of them are on board
and they're living in it.
No, I'm sure there are, but that has to be in agreement with all the people that they're good, and obviously they're good with that, but
it does speak to the question, can you, like, see, there's the can you in terms of are you allowed to based on society saying whether you should or shouldn't, and then there's the can you based on do we have the capacity within us to truly feel these true feelings of love and or being in love with more than one at the same time. To me, when I think about those models, the polyandrous or polyamorous or whatever you call it, when I look at that and I see they're living, breathing, this is what they're doing, that speaks to the capacity element that we have the capacity to.
If we're speaking about our society, well, it happens within our society as well.
It's true.
But I think that what it comes down to, because even biblically it was accepted, but from what I understand, it has to be a complete agreement amongst all involved. It can't just be one person wanting more than one. I'm going to use myself as an example. If my husband came to, or if I went to my husband and said, oh, can I have another lover on the side or whatever because I love this person or whatever, I'm pretty sure he'd be like, no. You know what I mean? So I think that the reason why polyamorous relationships work is because they go into it knowing that's what it is.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that makes the difference.
It does. Now,
but not that we're not capable of it. We're all capable of it. If it's we can always make a decision at any time that that's how we want to live. But I believe that all parties involved have to be have to approve of it.
True, and that comes down to, again, like contracts, commitments, what you guys are both signing up for, right? What happens if you find yourself in a situation where you are in love with another? Do you, okay, you mentioned like with your husband, do you share that? Do you share that with your husband? Do you, I don't know, like...
Well, I believe in, like I said, I try to be a truth warrior, and if I believe that there is a real love there, then I shouldn't feel any need to try and keep anything a secret from him. I should be able to tell him everything.
Yeah.
And if something like that happens, of course I would tell him. I would tell him, and because I'm very fortunate to have a husband that's very open and on an enlightened path, where he would, I think, understand. He would truly understand, and he would even say, you know, you're here to live your life. You have to make your choices. But I believe in being completely open and honest.
Completely. Yeah, me too.
Yeah, or else
me too.
to me, what's the point?
But you know, what I suspect though is that because of the society that we live in, you know, again, we get into relationships or marriages, and it's, you know, we stand at the altar, we say our vows and what these things are. That I would imagine this is probably why, let's say, a lot of cheating happens in our society, because to even, you know, everybody I think would want to be honest, but the fear of it jeopardizing even just the truth of that, because if even you don't act on it, which would be, let's say, a physical act, the truth of that knowledge to your partner, that your eyes are not just fully focused on them, and that you have even a desire or a feeling for another person, that in and of itself could create a lot of insecurity within that relationship, right? That, okay, well, they don't just love me. And then it comes down to when you get married or when you're in a relationship, does that mean, is that like a commandment or a law, you can only love me?
No, I don't think so. And but like I said, it comes down to everyone's perception of what it is. It really does, because some people would probably be very offended. Some people will probably understand, because possibly they've been through that same situation or experienced it themselves. So it really does come down to the person you're with.
It really does.
It really does.
And the communication, because I'll tell you something. For me, if I'm in a relationship and I just, the type of relationship that I would be seeking is one that I can be completely honest and open about every aspect of my life. And including the emotional aspect, including feelings.
Everything.
And that the truth, right, whatever the truth is, at any moment in time, that the truth is something that I would be more loyal to than even my relationship.
Exactly.
Because I do think that this society, especially in these monogamous, maybe we're talking about monogamy, it's the same kind of thing, right? That the truth of that, understanding the fears of loss, the fears of what you're going to lose by telling or sharing this truth, whether you say it or not, doesn't change that it's the truth that's operating within you. Now the question comes, how much of an open relationship do you want to have? When I say open, I don't mean open in the terms of whatever,
physical,
but in terms of open communication,
right,
where you can freely be able to express who you are without the fear of losing the love that you're already receiving from one, and to just be able to be truthful. I think that's why a lot of cheating happens. I think that's why a lot of, you know, undercover and going here, because people are, their worlds are opening up to other connections of love and feelings with somebody else. It could be very random and unexpected, and then all of a sudden you're thrown with this, holy crap, where did this come from? What is this? And this isn't supposed to be here. I remember, who was the girl? I'm going to be glad to bring up a Canadian artist. What was the girl who sang that song, Nobody's Supposed to Be Here? It was in a different text.
Deborah Cox.
Deborah Cox, okay. Canadian artist. We gotta, okay. But her song, it wasn't, the lyrics of the song wasn't saying this, but you're sitting there and you have your happy life and you're going through life and you're going through the motions and you've done what you've done, you're happy as far as you know. And then all of a sudden, somebody shows up.
Like a curveball.
Like a curveball, and you're like, and you got to deal. Like, you have to deal. And it's, what is this? Nobody's supposed to be here. This is not supposed to be happening. But yet, you're awakened to, if the even you don't act on it, but you're awakened to the reality of that. What do you do? What do you do? And how this, in my opinion, is a test, in some cases, to the strength of certain marriages and certain relationships. Because do I keep that in? Or do I invite my partner in to help me work this through? I don't know, like...
Well, no, and I think that if you are in the right person, what I would consider the right relationship is that you should be able to, because that person is your partner.
Ideally,
they're your partner, so if they're your partner, just like I would go talk to you or my best friend about something that is that significant to me, I should be able to go to the one person that I exchanged vows with.
How many people do you really think?
I know.
How many relationships do you really think are out there where they could go and be like, you know what, honey, I feel like I'm in love with somebody else, and it doesn't mean that I don't love you, but I feel like I'm in love with somebody else.
I don't know. I can't speak.
That's the relationship I want.
I can't speak. Well, I'm fortunate enough to have that kind of relationship where I can tell my husband everything.
Yeah.
And I do. I tell him everything. So, and I believe that people get married for the wrong reasons. And when you get married, you should be getting married because I believe that that is supposed to be your partner in life.
Who helps you grow and discover who you are.
Yeah, they don't take things personally when it comes to stuff like that, and that you can be completely open and honest with.
Yeah.
About everything.
Yeah, because who you might have been when you got married.
Yeah.
Might be very different to who you are today, and you're
always growing. You're always changing. You're never that. Like, I'm not the same person I was when I was 19, and I'm sure you're not. Nobody. We're always growing and changing, just like the world. Everything's always growing and changing. So, to limit yourself to a certain perspective of things and to stay there, it's impossible in this world. And when you do, that's when I think trouble comes in, because you're fighting change. And you can't fight change. Change is going to happen whether you want it or not.
Yeah.
It's not going to sit there and wait for you.
To me, the true meaning, or not say meaning, but a true, I guess, ideal of love to me is one where you would be able to share that.
Absolutely.
And but then I say to myself, okay, so I'm going to ask myself this question now: is there a double standard for me? So I'm saying, ideally, I'd want a relationship where my partner and I are so close and connected, and call it spiritually evolved or whatever have you, that should something like that arise, I could go and say, you know what, hey, this is what's going on. Could I receive that information from my partner? Like
No, I hear what you're saying, but
I would love that to have it, but
yes. I honestly, I can only speak for me, but I believe I could do the same. I really do, because it's just the type of relationship we do have, where it's completely, and I prefer open, like, at least give me the option to deal with something instead of doing something behind my back. I'd rather you say it to my face, and then we can discuss it, than finding out from somebody else.
Right.
If something, if you were in that state, and like I said, we try to keep open communication between us all the time. So I honestly can sit here and say, like, right now, for me, I could be open to that. What would it
represent? What kind of emotions do you think it would conjure in you? Like, immediately I could see, maybe not for you, because I know where you are in your thinking, and I know how, but I think for most people, if they were confronted with their spouse saying to them that, I feel, I'm not saying I want to leave you.
Yeah.
I'm not saying where this is going to take me or not, but I'm
going on. Yeah.
I have these undeniable feelings that I know is mutual, let's say, with somebody else, and I'm telling you, not because I have the answer, I'm telling you because it is a part of my experience right now, and I want to be able to share every part of my experience with my spouse.
Right.
I can imagine, for many people, insecurity would kick in. Fear. What does this mean? Am I losing life as I know it? And then where do you go from there? Like, do you allow?
But yeah, I was saying that when it comes to something that you did not even plan, you didn't ask for, that to me is a real truth.
Yeah.
And how sad is it if you're in a relationship, and not even for both sides, that you can't come to your supposed life partner in truth? Then it does leave you room to question, what do you have? What are you really in?
Yeah. And what...
And when I'm not talking about extramarital affair, I'm not talking about the sexual part of it or anything. I'm talking about real love. Like, I don't like to call it that, but like love, when it just happens.
And when you first recognize it, see where it gets complicated is when you recognize it, and then there's acts on it, then all of a sudden now there's a breach of that contract. And now it becomes a betrayal.
Yes.
Now it becomes more than just the truth that you recognized within you that you may not have gone to your spouse with.
Yes.
To share
exactly.
in. But now you've acted on it, you've breached the contract. Yeah. And this is where
that's where I think it gets touchy and it gets messy, and that's when the problems start.
That's totally where the problems start, because now you really have, like, you're lying, you're deceiving, you're holding, now you're dealing with guilt, you're dealing with all of these things that you're also, and at first it was just the recognition of love. But then you're inviting all of these other things that weren't there at first. You're making a choice.
Yes. On your own.
On your own. And breaching whatever contract.
Because I believe that when you do have that conversation with your spouse, they will give you their insight into how they feel, what they think about the whole thing, and that will also even help you gauge your decision on what you're going to do or what you're not going to do. But I always believe that you should at least give your supposed life partner the benefit of the doubt, the respect, first of all, yes. And then the benefit of the doubt that they should know what's going, like, how do they really know you if they don't know that?
Well, it's interesting you say that, because I remember having a conversation with somebody who was in a similar situation, and what, I mean, I call it the audacity, but I remember saying to them, your existing partner doesn't love you, as much as you may think. And they were like, well, what gives you the right to say that? How do you know that? And my thing was, it's not because I don't think, it's not for me to say whether or not that spouse would have the capacity to. But by you keeping this, the truth of your love for another, away from them because you're afraid it will hurt them, you haven't allowed them to love all aspects of you.
Exactly.
Because this is one aspect that you are hiding from them, right? And now do you know what I mean? So even when you're receiving their love, it's based on now a condition, because you're deciding that the only way you're going to continue receiving their love is on the condition that they have the perception that I only have love
is perfect
for them.
And it's just you and me. Meanwhile, in the back of your mind, or maybe always in the front of your mind, that other person is there, and that's not in you. And really, you're kind of even restricting them from showing their true love for you, if it is true,
and expanding even.
Because maybe you don't. If you don't even let them know what's been going on within you, you're not giving them the opportunity to show yay or nay that they're with you or not. You know what I mean? I've always just been a person. I believe in laying all the cards on the table. And letting other people, and I expect the same from me too. Lay all the cards on the table. Let me make the decision.
Don't deny me the choice. Don't deny me the option.
Yeah, and I wouldn't do that to them as well. I have to give them the opportunity to lay all the cards on the table, and then that way it leaves me up to make my decision, and it also gives them the opportunity to make theirs.
That's right.
And I think it's a much clearer decision, because at least you have all the facts and all the truth is out there.
You know, I think that this little episode that we're doing right now will probably make a lot of people truly question the foundation that their existing relationship is on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it would me, like, to say, wait a second, if that happened, could I?
Yes.
I think many people would understand what we're saying.
Yes.
In principle and in theory.
But to actually put it in action and walk it, it's difficult. But only you know what who your spouse is. Only you do.
The other thing is too is that a lot of people, I think, will justify not telling the other one. For reasons that they will believe or tell themselves are noble reasons. And I'm not saying that they're not good reasons or that they're not valid reasons. I don't know. But by saying, I don't want to hurt them.
Yeah.
And the fear of genuinely, like, really
hurting them. I believe that they
definitely comes into the weighing and the decisioning of that, right? Like, I love my partner. Yeah. I don't want to do anything to hurt my partner or to make them feel you know, any form of hurt or pain. So is this me now being, some people might say, that's your problem, that you have this feeling of love for somebody else. That's not, that your partner didn't ask for that. And if this is something that you're experiencing, maybe you should. Maybe some people's position on that might be, well, no, maybe love is the other way. Maybe you keep it to yourself to protect your existing partner from being hurt. It's not where I stand on it. And that might sound callous, because it might sound like I don't care to hurt the partner.
No, and it's not that at all, no. But that's the thing. Here's my question. Are you really protecting them? Because this is where it goes. This is where the part comes in now. If you're sitting by yourself and you're trying to deal with these emotions by yourself, or whatever this love feeling is, you're trying to navigate it by yourself without your partner.
And possibly exploring it
and exploring it. That's what I was going to say. As you sit in your thoughts and you're thinking, well, because you still have that draw to that person, and you're sitting there by yourself, well, if my husband or my wife doesn't know, or my boyfriend or my girlfriend doesn't know, what they don't know won't hurt them. And I think when you sit by yourself and you leave this within you, it leaves much more room for you to go to the decision that you ultimately had all along. But by keeping it secret and not hurting your spouse, it makes it easier for you, because you're doing it out of protection. Oh, I'll do what I want to do, but I'm not going to let them know because I don't want to hurt them. To me, I know that, I understand what you're saying, but to me it's almost an excuse of not telling them, because...
Do you think, just to sort of, do you think it would be a fair judgment for someone to say, well, you never really loved your spouse then, if you could find yourself in love with somebody else right now? Do you think that would, understandable judgment and a fair judgment? Do you think?
Do I think that that you'd be being unfair?
Yeah, if somebody came to the conclusion that, you know, that you must not love your spouse then, maybe you never did, if you could find yourself now being in love with somebody else.
I think it's an unfair statement, because, like I said, love comes to people differently, or I should say people see love differently. Now, if we're going into I'm going to go there. If we're going to the metaphysical place, I personally don't believe that we were made to be monogamous. I think that, and I'm not talking, and monogamous isn't, when I talk about a physical thing, I'm talking about a spiritual thing.
In love being limited to just, because love radiates.
And love is huge, it's universal, it's beyond, it's multiversal, you know what I mean? It's just, it's massive.
Yeah.
So when it comes to actual spiritual love for somebody, like love, I'm not talking about I'm staying away from the physical right now. I'm going where it's like a soul love that you feel for somebody. I don't think that God, if that was his intention, I think he would have made, okay, Tracy and Alex go here, bing. Kristine and blank go here, bing. That one's there wouldn't be this conversation if that's all that it was. I believe like I said, love is multifaceted, and I don't think it's limited to one person. And I honestly believe...
What do you think the religionists would say about that?
Oh, God.
Well, it depends on the religion.
Depends on the religion, yes.
Yeah.
It's okay for the man, but not the woman. You know what I mean? The man can have multiple wives, but a woman can never.
And that's in a practical sense. Yes. But in terms of the feeling, does that mean that the women... I mean, some models of that are set up where women wouldn't have any exposure to another man to be able to even know for that to be ignited. But yeah, like...
Then is that love? I don't think so. And believe me, I think that's arrangement. And I believe that if we're going to go speak religiously, I think a lot of religion doesn't even delve into love. And I'm talking about religion. I'm not talking about God.
Ooh, you're going to upset some people.
Well, they can get upset. Because I believe that religion is a control system set up to control people. So that's just my stance on that. But I believe that when you're talking about... Unless what?
Unless it's the right religion.
Which is, right? You tell me.
Exactly. Unless all the other ones are right. They're all set up the way you said. But the right, see, we're being facetious, and I'm not trying to be facetious, but really and truly, because there are some people who are very, very passionate about the religion, and they really and truly feel that this is the direction and that God
Yeah.
has set them on. So I don't want to disrespect anybody.
No, absolutely not. No.
In that.
But I'm talking about,
But-
if you're talking spiritually, the spirit does not only exist within our bodies. The spirit is everywhere. Our spirits are entangled within each other. Like our spirit is bigger than this meat puppet that holds it right now. And if you're talking about that in the spiritual realm, or even and the kind of love I'm talking about, I honestly don't believe that is limited to just two people.
Me either. I personally believe that there's these institutions that and that's fine, because it works for us, it's functional, it does what it does.
It keeps order.
But I do think that what is truly missing in a lot of, let's call it the marriage institution, or not promoted, and I'm not saying that, I hope and I pray that there are people out there who are watching this that are not identifying with what we're saying, and they're saying, wait a second, no, me and my husband, or me and my wife, we have that. And for those of you who do, more power to you. I think that
not even just married people.
Great.
That's any relationship.
And you're right. You're absolutely right. Married and any relationship. But for those, which I'm going to just delve and say, I think it's the majority.
Yes.
I think what's missing is the promotion of real truth and transparency.
Absolutely.
And really promoting that the truth, because here's the thing. Just to what you said, love, it just sort of happens with people. I really believe that love directs your course.
Exactly.
Love directs your course. But here's the thing about love, is in love is truth.
Yeah.
And so if you're letting love direct your course, but you're omitting from that the truth in there, then you will cheat. Then you will betray commitments.
And is it real love? That's my question.
Or is it all love that's operating, or is it fear that's also operating in that space
within
as well?
it? Yes, and that's the question. Like I said, only other people know their spouse. But I believe, me personally, I believe if you keep it within yourself and from your spouse, if you're in a relationship, not necessarily your husband, but your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever, if you are keeping it secret, to me right there, there's already something that doesn't sit well.
You mean, okay, but are you might be speaking about both, but I'm going to separate. Keeping the secret only that you have the feeling without acting, or keeping it secret by having the feeling and also acting?
I think both.
Both, right?
I think both.
Yeah. I think the second one is obvious.
That one's going to,
That's the obvious one, but now
and I think that's what happens when you keep it secret. It makes it easier to walk that road.
That's right.
Yeah.
But now it comes down to, if I have the feeling, and I know the feeling is there, because I'll be honest with you, like, this is a little going off a bit, but if I was in a relationship and my husband or boyfriend or whatever cheated, but there wasn't love that he felt with that other partner, then that was, call it a sexual act that they did. Where I think a lot of people are threatened is when it is actually, I love this person too, right? Because then you think your whole foundation and everything is going to crumble. But
maybe it's supposed to.
And, well, you know what?
Maybe it was supposed to.
Well,
that's the other part of it. Maybe it's supposed to.
I mean, really, if that was the case, I'd still be in the relationship that I was in when I was 17 years old.
Yeah.
We grow.
Yes.
And sometimes we grow, we go into these relationships to learn, to whatever, and
then move on.
And then to move on. And it doesn't mean that was a failure, that relationship was a failure at all. I mean, it's all a matter of perspective, too.
Yes.
It's about learning ground.
It was another lesson. Yeah, it's a lesson to be learned, and maybe love now has a new course that don't need you to take.
And all those past relationships should truly be honored, because they brought you to who you are.
Yeah.
And if you're truly happy in who you are today, you would completely be able to honor all those relationships and, I mean, all the experiences that you.
I know, because I saw some quotes before where people say, oh, if they were the one that, people are talking about the one that got away. It's like, no, they didn't get away. They probably served their purpose and it was time to go, or they were pushed away.
Yeah.
It could be anything, but I've never really liked that saying, the one that got away.
The one that got away. Because you're almost now sitting in your present moment regretting feeling that you're never going to be able to
find that again or find that person. Maybe
you're really limiting yourself.
And to me, I don't believe that love is to limit yourself in any way.
Not
and
at all.
Yeah,
it's freedom and it's expansion and it's
real. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it's supposed to make you, like you said, but in last week, it makes you grow. You may see them as obstacles, but are they really obstacles? And if love just happens to you without making any choice or any movement to bring it, it just happens. Well, who's to say that that's not the universe steering your course in another direction? But I honestly believe for it to go its correct direction, truth has to be right beside it or ingrained in it. It has to be within.
Totally.
Or else it's not the real. It's not the real deal.
Totally. And
to me, in my life, if I'm going to live the truth, I believe that everything should be laid on the table. In clear, because even like you never know that your partner may give you even bit more insight than you even thought you had.
That's true.
You know, they might even open up like, wow, I didn't even think about it that way.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So like even,
and then it helps to illuminate some of. Remember, we talked about these mountains of ourselves, these ego aspects of ourselves, insecurity, fear, possessiveness, all of these things. That what it does do is it helps you to help your partner grow as well. Yeah. Because it would illuminate some of these things that maybe your partner would be liberated from if they had the opportunity to tackle them or for them to be presented, right?
And they may even feel like because you're so distant, because you're so lost in your thoughts, they may think it's them that has caused you to be so distant and what's going on. So when you let them know the true facts of what's really going on, it might even ease some pressure, letting them know, okay, so it wasn't me. There is something else going on here. And you might be surprised. They might say, if they believe in that kind of stuff, I'm not so sure about that role, but if you could disclose exactly how you feel, they might think it's a past life situation that you're experiencing again, why another person came in. You don't know what their response is.
Ooh, that's a good topic. We'll talk about past lives.
But that's a whole other topic because I'm still on the fence with that. I've seen a lot of evidence, yes, but I'm still on the fence. I don't know. But I'm just saying, you don't know if you're. That's just an example of how a partner could illuminate when you become clean with them about a love you have for someone else. They may say, "Oh, it was a past life experience, or it was because of this," and you should really investigate what's going on. You don't know, and like I said, only you know your partner. But I honestly believe in the truth being synonymous with real love.
And here's the thing: you're right. Only you know your partner, but at the end of the day, you have to be defining who you are in each and every moment.
Even more importantly.
Because it comes down to, again, who you are deciding to be in your own life. And if you're deciding that you are going to walk the path of truth, because you're dealing with your own conscience. At the end of the day, that's between you and your own conscience and whatever. Like, you have to be able to sleep at night.
Yes.
You have to be able to, you have a responsibility to be able to sleep at night, to be able to look yourself in the mirror and know the freedom that the truth gives you.
Yes.
And sometimes it's a hard truth. Yeah. But no one said the truth is going to be
road is not easy.
Right? But it's who are you? And I think in every moment we're called and we're challenged constantly to define who we are. And we can ignore that. We can, whether it's for our desires or for our fears, we might decide to surrender, the truth of who we are because of fear.
Right.
Fear of loss, fear of so many things. All right. So just to continue, or just in closing, like what I have found is when I am faced with those tough choices of speaking the truth, knowing it's going to hurt somebody, because when I say hurt somebody, I think I know that deep down it's going to free them.
Yes.
But because I know that they would be faced with their own ego elements of insecurity, possessiveness, whatever it is, I know in the immediate thing it may hurt them. But the freedom that it brings to you
and to them,
and
eventually it will.
And to them.
You don't know, what we don't understand is when we make these choices where truth is concerned, it may seem like a hard road at first, but to me, I think the truth is always operating on freeing you. Always. I think that's its ultimate goal. You have to go through whatever work and walk you have to do to get to it. But when you do have that epiphany of the truth, you won't be in pain anymore.
Truly.
You'll understand.
People say that miracles don't happen, that they only happened in the times of the Bible.
Yeah.
You know?
No.
But I got to tell you,
Believe me.
when you are truly walking on that truth, you see miracles happen in front
All
of you every
the
day
time.
because it is transformative.
Exactly.
Love and truth, it is completely
They're synonymous.
transformative.
Yeah.
And so yeah. Right. So again, so thank you for tuning in again. And again, weigh in on your thoughts, your comments. If there's anything you'd like to share with us about what we just spoke about or any other topic, please feel free to let us know.
Thanks again, and we'd like to know what seeds you are going to plant today.